Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially back. The 2025 NFL season is just around the corner. And of course, the Philadelphia Eagles will kick things off against the Dallas Cowboys this Thursday. But there has been so much talk about this Eagles team, about the offseason they've had, the players acquired, the players lost. And when you look at the power rankings, like just from the consensus across the board coming into this season, it just feels odd, right? The Eagles are either just this written off number one team in the league, or they're like somehow fourth and fifth, with Baltimore getting a lot of love and so on and so forth. So today, we're just going to be going over some predictions where this team is at after a long and grueling training camp and trying to forecast, will this team be able to repeat a Super Bowl in 2025? Can they go back to back? We'll figure it out. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're back. Football's finally back. Eagles now. We are just a few days away, as we said at the start of the show. Shout out to Birdbrain saying he's alive. I am. I apologize for being away. Got sick a few weeks ago. Had like a week of just being up and down. Then the body clock was all messed up, and there were some other things. And you know me, right? Like I want to be in a rhythm. I want to be here, like 2-3 times a week. And if I can't do that, I'm like, well, I can't just build you up to break you down. So I'm back, right? Football season's here, and I can't leave you hanging on a Monday. Not when the Eagles are just a few days away from playing. And a lot's changed since we last spoke. Obviously, training camp's come to an end. The 53-man roster has been finalized. Ainias Smith is no longer an Eagle. And that's the real reason why I've not been streaming, is just because I couldn't bring myself to sit in front of a camera without crying my eyes out. And, I've had John Hightower again. I've had a John Hightower moment again. And I just want it to end. I just want one sleeper receiver to make this team and contribute. That's it. But alas, again, a lot's changed. And this is really just kind of a check-in to see where we're at on this Eagles team. Okay, what are we feeling about the roster? What are we feeling about the schedule? And where this team is at in the grand scheme of things in the league? Because I look around now, especially after the Micah Parsons trade, where, of course, he's now gone to Green Bay. Dallas are now in a state of what I feel is complete disarray. Like, we can talk about the Cowboys all we want, and, the fact that they still have a few good skill players. At the end of the day, like, that defense was leaky at the best of times, and that was even with Micah Parsons there for 13 games last season. And now that he's out the picture, I don't know how good Dallas is going to be. I don't think Washington are going to be that good. I think Washington are aging. I think the noise around Terry McLaurin, as good as it is for them that he's back, does it create a bit of unrest? Does it create a bit of unease among those older players who are wanting a contract extension? Like, they've dished out so much money, they couldn't look after one of their own. There'll be a few younger players entering contract years where maybe they're a bit more uncertain now. So that's something to bear in mind. And then, of course, you've got whatever's left of the New York Giants. So to me, I think no matter what happens, the Eagles should, in theory, very easily reclaim the NFC East crown back-to-back. I can't see a world where they don't win the NFC East. I think it'll be the same finish as last year. Eagles 1, Commanders 2, Cowboys and Giants can decide that in week 18 or whatever it is they last play. Like, I can't really be dealing with those shenanigans. But to me, it just feels so obvious that this is a two-horse race. And if I'm honest, I expect there to be a real regression for the Commanders this year. A lot of people will. You can even do the same with Jalen Hurts, right? Like the year that he came in, the game against the Saints, where he blew everyone away and very rightly then claimed that starting role. And then you fast forward to the next season where this new change is in, and there were concerns. There were genuine question marks for about a year and a half after that. After he wowed everyone, there were real genuine concerns about Jalen Hurts and where he places the ball. Does he throw it deep? Can he be trusted, like, to do those longer developing plays? And it happens with, I think, every rookie quarterback that has somewhat of a good year. And Hurts had a much smaller sample size. There was a lot of other factors, including changing coordinators. But Dak Prescott is probably the best example of a player that blew it up as a rookie, was absolutely brilliant. And then the league catches up. It's got a whole year of film on you. And he's just never quite able to get back to that. He can be good, but he's not there. And what Jalen has done so well is break out of that mold, put the team first, not really care about how they win. It just matters that they do. and the team have been able to really build around that. I worry, honestly, with Jayden Daniels this season, that same game plan of there being a really strong rookie year where he blows everyone away, then you work out in the same way the league did with Hurts, where if you pressure him off the right or you force him to scramble left, that he's going to make an errant throw. I think we're going to see that with Jayden Daniels. There is going to be a lot more focus from defensive lines. You're going to see like a lot more pressure, I think, of like not necessarily pass rushing pressure, but just trying to seal the pocket, trying to keep him in, trying to force him to make one of those longer developing plays. So I know we're not talking Eagles yet, but I can't see a world where the Commanders do as well as they did last year. I think Jayden Daniels is not going to light it up as much as he did as a rookie. He'll still be good. Don't get me wrong. He's a great young player. I don't see him I don't think he's shown enough to prove to me, at least, and not that he plays to prove to me, but that there is another level then that he can reach very solidly in year 2. I don't think that progression curve is as clear and linear as it is for some guys, right? And it's just one of those things. But realistically, if we're being honest with ourselves, the playoff game against the Eagles, where I think we need to say anything else. I don't think we need to say anything else. Where the blueprint was then there, how to, beat him and how to make him make those dodgy throws, and the Eagles executed it perfectly. That is going to be a key focus. The Eagles are a much harder team to game plan for. And we can look at the schedule and we can look at the strength of it and the teams on it and the amount of playoff teams from the AFC just popping up throughout this season. Ultimately, it comes down to how can you stop this Eagles offense? We can look at the defense. And the one weakness, if we're honest, is that second safety spot until we see something from Drew McCuba where he takes it over or they do go with a different name. We saw a bit of a changeover. Marcus Epps came back not too long ago. Or CB2, where we don't really have a handle on, is it Keely Ringo? Is it Dory Jackson? Vic Fangio yesterday, I believe, spoke quite highly about Jacorian Bennett. So that's something to be wary of. Like the back end of that, like one half and the top of that field is a bit worrisome. That's going to be very interesting to see what Fangio does. Outside of that, the rest of the defense is, I think, far better than last year. And that's even with the loss of Milton Williams. Because, yes, you've lost a brilliant DT3. Moro Ojomo stepped up excellently. Ty Robinson has flashed very nicely towards the end of summer and into preseason. And then let's just say, look, would you rather have, a team where you've got Jahad Campbell, Zach Bourne, then either Jeremiah Trotter Jr., whether it's Jalix Hunt, however they want to rotate that third backer should they decide to use it or use nickelbacks, whatever. Jahad Campbell and Zach Bourne being your 2-3 down linebacker starters, or Milton Williams and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Like, I would much rather have a player as versatile as Campbell, as explosive as Campbell, who can disrupt the pass as well he can disrupt the run, who can cover as well as he can blitz. Like, I think you've got such an ace there to use. And when you blend that with the instincts, with the I think the sheer understanding of the game that Zach Bourne has that we spoke so brilliantly about last year, that there's no way that defense has any cause for concern outside of that CB2 spot's going to get pounded a lot and that second safety spot could get targeted a lot. Outside of that, if the rest of the team are aware and the IQ is as high as it has been, I can't see there being much room for error. I think a lot of those errors that do come up or try to get exploited will be protected by the other players. There's things you can do schematically. We've seen it across the league for years. You can even go back to Jim Schwartz where they used to try and rock and roll those safeties and bring them up and switch assignments. That's very Fangio-esque, I think, with the way that can be done. So I'm not concerned at all about the back end of the secondary. The defense is fine. The offense for me, like, if pitched to any fan, any player, any coach, any coordinator in the world, how do you stop the Eagles offense? Like what is the game plan? What do you do? Because you just can't. You cannot account for one of the best running backs of all time, who has just proven that all of the noise we saw in New York, where he's very much a Bugatti stuck in a shed, is true. That he has just put up one of the best rushing seasons of all time. You've got Jalen Hurts, who proved on the biggest stage of all, in the biggest game of his life, he can dice up defenses as well as anyone when he's asked to. You've got two of the best young wide receivers in the league with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. The only weakness you could possibly find is maybe Tyler Steen. And even that, I think he's had a fairly good summer. Like, I don't think there's been a reason to doubt him whatsoever. So you can't pick a fault. And I don't know how you go about taking away the receiving options while then committing to the run, while then also somehow accounting for the fact that Jalen Hurts can run the ball and that he's intelligent enough to not throw turnover-worthy plays. There's no way to stop that train rolling. Like, logically, like, you can look at, I don't know, let's take Green Bay's offense, for example, okay? And you've got Jordan Love, the offensive line's got better, receiving options are there to some extent, and then you've got a running game that's a bit up and down. Fair enough. Defensively, they're much stronger. They've got a very, very good defense. But offensively, like, it's still very much on the shoulders of Jordan Love to do anything, right? And we saw that in the playoffs, again, versus the Eagles, where he's going to throw an interception because he has to make these aggressive plays with receivers that aren't quite that top tier yet. And it's going to cost them. You can look at the Lions and you can make comments about Jared Goff. I think their team's much stronger, Detroit. But outside of that, like, every offense you look at will have some kind of downfall. There'll be a weak spot. There'll be, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's maybe an inconsistent run game, maybe the quarterback has a strange turnover problem, maybe they struggle on third down. The Eagles didn't have a single problem, really. Like, they were weak in week one. But let's not forget that. Week one last year against the Packers, they struggled. Then it took a few weeks. There was the Tampa Bay game. There were a couple others where they weren't quite clicking. And then they were absolutely flying and no one could stop them. Like, once everything got ironed out and brought in, they were fine. The one thing I've heard a lot is that the Eagles, with Kevin Patullo now offensive coordinator, because obviously they lost Kellen Moore this offseason, is that, well, it's another change in coordinator. It's another change for Jalen Hurts, blah, blah, blah. Let's not forget, okay, that Kevin Patullo has been the pass game coordinator with the Eagles for each of the last 4 years, and 3 years. And Jalen Hurts has ranked, inside the top 5 quarterbacks nearly every season in any real metric you look at. If you look at his accuracy, you can look at the way the turnovers have dropped, like, year on year outside of, like, 2023. It's sensational. And I don't think you can look at the rise of Jalen Hurts and then discredit Patullo's impact on that. Like, you can't say solely responsible, but then to act like there was no defining factor there is also, it's not fair. So to me, if we go back to the first argument I made, right, which is that Jayden Daniels will struggle in 2025 because the Washington Commanders they're in a bit of a weird spot with their team, and there's a lot of pressure on a rookie quarterback now that the team is going to struggle due to the fact that every other team around the league has tape on him. Okay. Then you come back to the Eagles, who have a new offensive coordinator. If they really want to get funky, we know Jalen Hurts can do everything. We know Jalen Hurts can make every throw, make every decision, protect the ball, choose when to run on RPOs, choose when to keep it. He can read pressure very well. He makes audibles and changes at the line. He's very much kind of adopted that Jason Kelce-esque role. If the Eagles are smart, you just diversify the playbook a little bit. You shake things up. You add a little bit more horizontally for Saquon. Give him a few more receptions instead of a few more north and south runs. You try and get Devontae Smith used on screens instead of A.J. Brown. You get A.J. Brown lined up in the slot occasionally. You start using Dallas Goedert more. And you do all of these things and different concepts and different ways of doing them because they weren't on tape last year. And that is a really weird, unique spot. One of the only times I can genuinely recall the fact that a team has had a complete change with offensive coordinator and they could be in an advantage because all of that noise from last year and all of the ways that they won could end up being irrelevant because you've now got a slightly different way of doing things and there's a slightly different mentality. It won't be drastic. The core principle is the same. Protect the ball, dominate possession, end every drive with a kick, as it always has been in that kind of system that Sirianni's deployed from the Andy Reid coaching tree. But above anything else, it's just protect the football. And you've got the best personnel to do that. And if you can add some new wrinkles just to keep defenses guessing, there's no way they don't. So to me, this Eagles team is so well positioned from a roster perspective, from now a playbook perspective, and from a development perspective. Because yes, they've lost some big names. You look at a guy like Moro Ojomo, who's going to have a big step up. Keely Ringo has been in that system 3 years now. Technically, if you go back to the one pre-Fangio, but he's been there, okay? Adoree Jackson is a stopgap. Realistically, I'd like to see Ringo in there. But all of these young players that have moved up through the ranks, Zach Bourne, you can even argue, wasn't meant to be a starter last year. Look at what he did. Jeremiah Trotter is a player that could have a very sizable impact, especially until Nakobe Dean gets back on the field. Jalix Hunt, second-year player, electric rookie season when he was finally afforded more opportunities in a world where Hassan Reddick, didn't tap out, and then we didn't end up with the trade that, of course, sent the horrible replacement to Philadelphia that we won't name. Had that injury not occurred, had the Eagles not decided to send the former Jet packing, then we wouldn't have had an opportunity for Jalix Hunt. And instead, we've now got a linebacker that is competent off the edge, is competent in coverage, very, very, very athletic, like incredibly so. And you've just got a flurry of young players that just keep rising and keep getting better. Tyler Steen struggled for the first couple of years. Now is your starting right guard. It's just nuts. Like, there's no way I don't think you can beat this team. And to me, this season is very much less of a let's see what we've got. And now we've acquired. Because last year, I think the expectation came late because of the Saquon move and because like people were digesting it and how it would work. And the assumption simply was that behind the Eagles' offensive line, Saquon's going to dominate. Could be a bit of friction, which was my concern because the wideouts are going to get less targets. And then you watch it all unfold and all pan out, and you realize that when this Eagles team is at its best, I don't think anyone can stop him. I really don't think any team in the league can. The argument people will make to combat that is the schedule last year was pretty light. And that's the only knock. And you can only play who's in front of you. And in the NFL, it doesn't really matter anyway until you get to the postseason. But now you face a season where you take on some of the very, very best teams in the NFL from the AFC that will be, perennial playoff contenders. Green Bay are going to be there from the NFC. You've got Cincinnati there, obviously. Like, there's just a lot. There's a lot of teams there that you're going to have to make your way through. And just for context, we'll get the Eagles schedule just rolling so we can run back through it. So open up against the Cowboys. They'll walk over that. It's going to be absolutely tremendous. Banner gets unveiled. The Dallas Cowboys are in disarray. There's no more Micah Parsons. Saquon's going to have an absolute field day. Then you face the Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch. Then you got the Rams, maybe a sneaky pick, to make some upsets in the playoffs. The Bucs are always a little bit tricky. Broncos, depends how high you are on Bo Nix, but it shouldn't be a problem. The Giants aren't a problem. Vikings, don't know. Giants, again, they'll definitely lose that. And then you got Packers, Lions, that'll be a tough back-to-back. Cowboys, Bears. I saw there's no Cincinnati. I beg your pardon. I was thinking of last year, I suppose. Chargers, they should be like a top 6, top 7 team, I think, really on paper. They're not, but they should be. Raiders near the bottom, and then the Commanders twice, and then the Bills in the middle. So if we're looking at the actual games that matter, Chiefs, Rams, maybe Bucks, Packers, Lions, Bills, Commanders twice. That's half the schedule that will be playoff games. And this is now a scenario for the Eagles where they can attack and just make a real statement. This is a state. Last year was the big, oh my God, this is a dream team. And somehow it's actually worked and its history hasn't repeated. And they've gone on and done the unthinkable and won the Super Bowl. Now it's let's just dominate. Like we have just got the most dominant team in the world. We've had all this noise about, well, they're only as good as Saquon and Jalen Hurts needs all these weapons and whatever other garbage that has been spewed out in counter to the fact that the team building has been beyond anything I've seen in my lifetime. Jalen Hurts has ascended to another level. You've got the best running back in football. The defense was absolutely sensational. And instead of all of that, it's just been, well, we haven't played anyone. Well, now they've got a chance that in the space of a couple of months, they can beat the Bills, they can beat the Lions, they can beat the Packers, they can beat the Rams, they can beat the Chiefs. Who's left? Like, at that point, would you be scared of anyone? If they somehow win all of those games, are you scared of actually anyone else in the NFL? And if the answer is yes, you shouldn't be. Because it's just a different type of team that I don't think anyone in Philly is familiar with or has been familiar with for a very, very long time. Greg, nice to see you, my friend. Has just said that I understand all this, but my problem is travel. How Houchy and the coaching staff deal... Oh, how the coach there? Excuse me. You can tell my body clock's not quite there. I'll force this one in because I want to get back to streaming with you fellas. How Howie and the coaching staff deal with that will determine the number 1 seed. I mean, I think that's fair. Like, if we go back to the schedule, I should get it on screen, but I'm being lazy. Opening against the Cowboys at home, then it's roads to Kansas City. Home against LA, I think, is good because you don't want to be traveling to there. It's a pain in the backside. Short trip to Tampa. Denver at home. again, brilliant. You don't have to deal with Mile High and the weird, not the betting angle of the altitude. Road to the Giants, road to the Vikings, then back at home, then back to the Packers. Like Green Bay's, and it is what it is. Homestand against Detroit, then a trip to Dallas, then back to Philly against the Bears. Then it's to LA, then it's back home, then it's out to Washington. I think the end of it, I can definitely see your point. Like from what week is that? To be fair, from like when they play the Giants the first time, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, week 6 against the Giants onwards, I think the opening 5 weeks to me feel pretty friendly, where you've got 3 home games out of the first 5. One of them is a home game where you'd really want because it's the Broncos and there just is that weird stigma with Mile High. And then you've got the Cowboys at home, Banner Day, lovely. And then the Rams, who don't really have that much of a home atmosphere anyway, but is what it is. But after that, it does get a bit weird. I can definitely see that, where you have the Giants on the road, Vikings on the road, then it's back home, then it's out to Green Bay, back home, out to Dallas, back home, out to LA, back home, out to Washington, out to Buffalo, back home. Like that is a lot. And to be fair, I hadn't really thought of it. But then again, I mean, these are pros. Many of them would have been, like, if you look at someone like Lane Johnson, he's not really going to be fazed by that. If you look at Jalen Hurts, he won't be fazed by that. I can't think of there being many players that will be blindsided per se with that level of travel, because this team's core has been around now for so long that I think that's hard to really factor in to the discussion. Like, it's the same. Okay, so it's the same thing where, like, the first few London games when, like, the Jags were coming over, the Jags would win everything because they understood how to arrive in London a few days earlier to get the sleep schedules realigned, which I should probably take notes from, and then go on to sort like the practice routines. Don't worry about sightseeing, focus on the game. Like the Saints got absolutely mollywopped, I think, one day. Like that was tremendous viewing, and it's one of them where over time that advantage has become nil because people have worked out how to do the travel. And the Eagles, there's no Brazil game this year, which is, it's good for them, I think. Like that did throw a spanner in the works to their start of the year. Whether it was responsible for the loss, I don't know, but it certainly played a role in getting the wheels going early. So it will be difficult, but I don't think it's going to be an issue that to worry about. And really, and I'll put it this way, Greg, right? Even if it is an issue, even if the travel is an issue in 2025 and there's a lot going on and fatigue's there and the bye week's just a bit of an opportune time and then you're grinding out these late games, if that's our biggest problem with the team before the start of the season, I think we're in a really good spot. I think we're in a really, really good spot. If we're not sat here, like radio talk show hosts will, like across the country, discussing quarterback play or the GM didn't do enough or Micah Parsons has been traded from our team and we're now a mess, like Washington didn't pay their receiver for ages. Like if our main problem is planes, hotels, and then coming back and playing football, I think this team's a very, very good team. So that would be my takeaway on it. Little G, nice to see you as always, my friend. I'm sure you are absolutely stoked for the new season. Greg says, I'll forever say that if the Eagles get the number 1 seed or the NFC Championship at home, we're Super Bowl bound. I can see that. I think the Eagles at home in the playoffs is a different breed. Like there aren't many stadiums in the world. And to be fair, I think a lot of my time growing up as an Eagles fan, I didn't put too much stock in the Link being this like vicious, really tough, intimidating place to play because the teams I followed weren't very good. Okay, when I started following the team, they were absolutely terrible. So it was only in these later years where when I started watching it, it was still very much Denver. It was Indianapolis. You get a bit later on and you've got the Seahawks and their 12th man, and that was a real big factor. And you fast forward to now, and I couldn't imagine a worse place to play than Philadelphia on the road in the middle of early January, and it's freezing outside, and the fans are hissing and booing, and the atmosphere is so hostile in the best way. It might be the hardest place to play in the NFL, if not one of them. So I think that has to count for something as well. So I do like that. Nice to see you, Billy. Welcome into the stream, my friend. He said the Eagles have always been off at least 5-0 in their last 3 seasons on the road. Very interesting. Very interesting. 12-5 will not be enough with Green Bay, the Rams looking to go 5-1 in the division. Yeah, but then also, do you fear any of them? Because I think the main fears are always the same. It's always the same. It's the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bengals. Like they're the big 4 teams in the NFL to beat, right? If you need to go to Super Bowl, you have to go through one of them. And the Eagles are being, like in the NFC, they get away with that. The NFC has become such a train wreck, I think, in the last few years. It's just been the perfect time for a new dynasty to rise up. And what this team has done with that opportunity is just absolutely brilliant, and they're set for years. However, Green Bay don't scare me purely because I've seen them in the playoffs last year. Like that does. I was never wavered in that game. Honestly, I was more scared of the Commanders than the Packers, and now I've seen the disarray with Washington, and you realize everyone on their roster is literally a pensioner. That there is nothing to be worried about with them. So the Packers, to me, like they are a threat, especially with Micah. They are a threat. They're going to put up numbers. They're going to win a lot of games. Is it going to matter come the end of the year? Like I get why, for Green Bay to go out and get Micah makes a ton of sense. If they're targeting late playoff runs, logically, their goal has to be championship games, stop Saquon Barkley, and Micah would do a lot for that. But again, it doesn't stop the fact that you then have AJ Brown. I don't know. Maybe this is the first year I think I've ever been properly delusionally optimistic. Like last year, I was very cautiously optimistic. Week 1 happened, and I was very much called it as I saw it. Wasn't a fan of what I saw. I thought that the lack of preseason snaps really impacted this team. And I think as time has gone on from 2022 to 2025 and the development of the players and the way the offense has been built through changes, the way Vic Fangio came in and just completely made the defense look like how almost Gannon tried to beforehand. And like, I don't know. It just feels like this team is meant to do. It looks the way it's meant to, right? Which is a championship contender. And it felt like they used to have all the players and then something would go wrong. Like Jonathan Gannon would simply exist, or that the offense would fall apart, or that there would be an injury or something. And this team's just too good. The depth is too good. Realistically now, if we're at a point where the worst case scenario is an injury, if someone were to go down, the only thing that would stop me being bullish on an Eagles team running it back in the Super Bowl is an injury on the offensive line. Because outside of that, I think even if you lose Dallas Goedert, I trust Grant Calcaterra. If you lose, touch wood, you don't. But AJ Brown, Devontae Smith for an amount of time, I don't mind it. Like I do mind it, obviously, but I think you've got depth behind where I'm quite lenient. I like the receiver room we've got. I think it's a really good blend of size and athleticism. If you look at the running back position, if Saquon goes down for any amount of time, you're gonna lose production. But I think Will Shipley's solid enough. If Jalen goes down, and that is the very, very worst case scenario, I think Tanner McKee's all right. Maybe not Nick Foles level to Beloved Hooray, but I think you can do this at any position. Like the only one is cornerback 2, where if one of them go down, that's an issue. If safety, maybe. If Drew Makuba goes down, you're going to have a slight problem. But then Marcus Epps has experience. Again, like they've done a really good job of just negating these. If you have an injury on the defensive front, you've now got depth. Okay? If you end up with Jordan Davis missing time or Jalen Carter missing time, Moro Ojomo stepping up, Ty Robinson showing flashes, you're going to lose players. But like 2-3 years ago, right? And this is what the point I'm trying to make. If you go back to this Eagles team, let's say 2023. Yeah, we'll go 2023. Okay. James Bradbury goes down. Who steps up? Of course, Keely Ringo wasn't ready. Darius Slay goes down. Who steps up? No one was there really. Like Eli Ricks, maybe, if you're lucky. Okay. You can do it all across. If AJ Brown went down in 2023, problem. Okay. If you lost Jason Kelsey for any amount of time, huge problem. If you lose, and this is the thing, like this team now, yes, it's always a problem, and it would suck if there's injuries. The depth is so much stronger. Like this is a very, very deep team. And it was at a point where I think if you were to make a 53-man roster prediction towards the end of training camp, you would struggle because there aren't many roles to win. It was all decided, like all of the roles were decided last offseason. So all of these players coming back, there was one change for Tyler Steen, another at CB2, another at safety, and it would otherwise all be literally identical outside of the fact that Nakobe Dean is still injured, so Jeremiah Trott is probably coming in. Oh, and you lose edge rushers don't really matter because they were useless anyway, so you end up with Nolan Smith and then Jalen Hunt, which is better literally anyway. So to me, it just feels like this team's too good, it's too deep. I just can't see it not making noise. I want to pin this comment. Isaac, lovely to see you again. I know it's been a little while. I've even grown a little bit of hair since I last saw you. The only thing that I think could keep us from a repeat is either us seeing the Bucks in the playoffs or injury. Hopefully, I've tried to dispel the injury bit. I think injuries will obviously be there. However, the Bucks in the playoffs are always tricky. I think that just is one of those things where they seem to be a bit of a bogey team, and I can never quite work out why, because they're not that brilliant. They just seem to be. They do the fundamentals well, right? Like that's the thing with Tampa Bay for me, is that they never seem to have a blowaway roster. They'll have a competent running back that's 45 years old and adds quads the size of my face, and they can run for 120 yards a game. You've got a quarterback that isn't mind-blowing, but he's good enough. You've got receivers aren't mind-blowing, good enough, because once Mike Evans got older. The defense is young. They've always had like stud linebackers, not elite, good enough. But they're just fundamentals. Like, if you imagine a team of players that approach the game like Zach Bourne, that's kind of how I see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I don't mean in terms of the play, but how they play. Like Zach Bourne's biggest strength to me, as I've said for moons now, is his football IQ. He knows he's not the fastest. He knows he's not the strongest. And the way he approaches the game is he'll never take a bad tackling angle. He's always going to read and react incredibly well, because if he's not in the right position, it's gone. So he has to be clinical, more clinical than perhaps other more athletically gifted linebackers can allow. So if you've got a team of players that just the IQ is next level, you're onto something. And that's what Tampa Bay, to me at least, seem to really do well. So that would be why, like, I don't know. I would fear them probably weirdly more than Detroit. And I don't know if that's right or wrong for me to say. I think Detroit is all hype, no heart. I think it's all bark, no bite. They've got a ton of stars. Lovely, good for them. I would probably be more fearful of a different, like, more well-disciplined team in that kind of environment. Like, and it's not to say that Detroit aren't. To me, that's a personal preference. What else have we got? I would like to see the Bills finally get past KC. Do you know what? I would. And then there's a sick part of me that doesn't, because we said this last year. And for anyone that was watching these streams during the playoff run, where we all sat here before the AFC Championship game talking about who we would rather play, I did not want any part of the Bills. I would take KC all day. All right, I'll take the Chiefs. I hated their receiving room. I thought they had no one. Travis Kelce was falling off at that point. The defense was suspect. I was like, it's literally Patrick Mahomes carrying everything. And then you get to the Super Bowl. That's exactly what happened. And look, the cinema of a Bills-Eagles game would be unbelievable. And we might even get a preview later this year, like in the penultimate game of the season, in a game that could be massive in terms of playoff seeding, where the Eagles will play the Bills. But do I want that in a Super Bowl? Or do I want, an extra 6 years of my life that I won't lose through stress? Would I like an Eagles Super Bowl against Buffalo, or to keep a hairline? Or you can have an Eagles Super Bowl against the Chiefs, get a Lombardi trophy, and just get drunk the whole night, because they're just going to whitewash it, which is what happens. So that would be my stance on that. I think Buffalo has been knocking at the door way, way too long. I think they've just been too close too many times. I find it crazy that they haven't yet. And like last year, I think was probably one of the most heartbreaking ones of all. But they'll get there at some. But same with the Ravens. Like someone in the AFC has to do it. And when they do, that's when I get scared. Because in the NFC, it's unquestioned. I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. Even with Micah Parsons, I don't think Green Bay come close. That is just the anti-Saquon drug that they've just purchased from the pharmacist. And that's it. But now, do you have an anti-AJ Brown drug? Do you have an anti-Devontae Smith drug? Do you have an anti-Vic Fangio drug? Because I don't think they do. So I don't care. But Buffalo scare me. Cincy scare me a bit. Cincy's receiving room, I think both of their receiving rooms scare me, to be honest with you. I think, and Baltimore as well. Like, I think I've just seen that down the bottom there from Greg. Like Baltimore are always a team where very well disciplined, but also a blend of just great players as well. And the skill positions are good. Lamar Jackson is an insane athlete. The offensive line is always good. The defense is always aggressive. They're one of those teams, again, you know what you're getting without having to name a single player on the team. And I think that's dangerous. So we'll see. But I hope with all of my being it's an Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl, because there is not a single part of me that would want the Bills. I think the Ravens they can match up well against. I think that there's some slight matchup advantages there that favor Philadelphia. Honestly, just the defensive line. But it's too early. Like, we're not a week one yet. However, I just know I would not want. Just give me Kansas City. Just give me Kansas City 16 times a year, and they'll probably win 9 of them. Josh Sweat wasn't. No, Josh Sweat was all right. We like Josh Sweat. I just think he hit his ceiling. Like, no disrespect to Josh Sweat. We all know that wasn't the man I was really talking about there. I just refused to name him because of the incredible disappointment that we saw from a gargantuan contract edge rusher off of a fluke season with the Jets where he had 10 sacks and they were all in garbage time or late into drives. Well, we'll hang up on it. We'll hang up on it. It's fine. We've moved on. We've got Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Evelyn set. Timor's dropped in. Love that. You're not allowed to win a Super Bowl at Levi's. Try again in Super Bowl LXI. Well, I mean, you won't either, so, you know, it's fine, isn't it, really? Tommy's a Niners fan, for anyone that doesn't know or follows him on Twitter. He's a big San Francisco 49ers fan, which I'm sure he's going, you know, lovely. That's great. So have fun with that. Eagles-Bengals could happen if they figured out their defense. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Greg makes a good point. Joe Burrow's offensive line is sub 20 ranked, eating all day. And this is it. Like, I just think there's two, like, we saw the Eagles win last year in so many ways that it actually became, you know, like Scorigami. It was like that just for how many ways the Eagles can win. And a quick shout to Jonathan Harvey as well. Nice to see you in the chat, my friend. The Eagles can beat you on the ground, can beat you through the air, can beat you in the turnover battle, can beat you in time of possession, can beat you in low-scoring games, can beat you in high-scoring games. They can win shootouts. They can win games where they're playing off the back foot and they're down 7 early on. They can win games where they don't score in the first quarter. They can win games that don't score in the first 2 quarters. They can win games that score in all 4. They can just do everything. And that, it's really weird. Again, delusional self-belief is not something I've had with this Eagles team ever. Apart from maybe the Super Bowl this year. I was kind of adamant that they would win that. But outside of that, in all honesty, last year, I was, as I said, cautiously optimistic. 2023, I didn't see a Super Bowl. I'd have loved one. 2017 obviously was a miracle. Like, I can't remember the last time I've been so just, they've got it. And that's a dangerous feeling because I also thought that about Anaya Smith making the roster and that. And also, Terrence Marshall's on the practice squad, so we won't mention that in this stream. NFL reality check. Nice to see you, sir. The Eagles under Jeffrey Lurie are solely invested in winning division titles and Super Bowl titles, not concerned about this team's desire to win. No, and I think like this is the other thing as well, right? Like Super Bowl hangovers are a thing. They do exist. And purely from a standpoint, if you lose a lot of personnel to free agency, you lose a lot of personnel up there. You just do, okay? You look at any Super Bowl team, players get older towards the end of their contracts. They just, it's top of the mountain syndrome. You achieve the one goal you've worked your entire life for. Do you need to go that hard at practice next week? Do you need to go hard in the second week of training camp when you're a star receiver who's just won a Super Bowl and you've already got a fat contract and you're not going anywhere? Like, it happens. Players just lose that edge. That's all it is. They'll just lose that fighting edge. And I think what I have the most trust in with this Eagles team is that the edge gets sharper. Because I've never seen an athlete conduct himself the way that Jalen Hurts does. And that's your leader. Above anything else, that's your leader. That's the role model. That's the tone setter for the team. You look at the players that they've got around him. Players that have been at these prestigious schools like Georgia, like Alabama. You look at a Landon Dickerson, someone that would play with one leg if he was told to. If his right leg came off mid-game, he would crawl back to the line of scrimmage with a hand in the dirt, ready to go again. Jordan Mailata is a player that has ascended everything, was a strong leader from day one, is now very much a worthy captain of this team. You have got players who have earned every bit of respect that they've had. And again, we can go back. This was by design. You go back to that draft, it must have been 2020 when Milton Williams came out, where every single player in that draft class, I think it was 2020, could have been 2021. Forgive me. Again, it's late for me here. But the Milton Williams draft, every single player in it was a team captain at some point or had a link to the team somehow. That was then the bar. And you look at the players that they then targeted, and it was no longer really these kind of maybe mixed character Jalen Reagor level players. You're then all of a sudden looking at, you know, again, guys out of Alabama, someone like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And not all of them panned out. You can look at a Kayvon Wallace who had the nod of endorsement from Brian Dawkins, and you can say that that's a shame. It didn't quite go to plan. But you look at the players that have come in through the draft and have become key staples to this team. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. Jalen Carter specifically, who came out with character concerns and has turned into a stand-up player on and off the field. Jordan Davis, very similar situation, minus the character concern. Nakobe Dean, incredible leader. You hear a lot about him off the field. You look at someone like Quinyon Mitchell to come in with the confidence that he had week one, to learn as much as he could from a guy like Darius Slay. It's just infectious. Like, these guys go to bat for each other. And in 2018, I think it was such a miracle run in those few months before. It took everyone by surprise. Like, you're never going to get that high again. It's like, look, it's a PG show, and I've never done it. It's the first time we do heroin. You never get that high again. If you're on that 2017 Eagles team, like, you're not getting that. Like, that was it. That was everything. That is the fairy tale ending. You can't get better than that. And if you're a 30-year-old player at the twilight of your career and you've just done that, why go the extra mile? You look at the average age of this Eagles team. You look at the type of player infected all over the place. It's like a big viral infection of just leadership, good quality, high football IQ, and coachable players who will put the team first. It's not really about as much as it is about championships. It's about the process of getting there and being better each day and taking it one at a time and not getting lost in the noise of championships. As Jalen Hurts said today, it's contributions, not credit, which he just loves coming out with these quotes. I don't know how he does it. He should be on a mindfulness podcast when he retires, because he just is a different level of character. But it's so true that no one in that team really cares about a credit or an accolade, or you were in the NFL top 100, you were given an X factor on Madden. Like, they're not asked. They don't care. What they care about is just winning. Just win it. It's just win. That's it. It doesn't matter whether it's in practice, whether it's week one, whether it's preseason. It's just win. Storming Norman, who might have the greatest name we've ever seen, and his profile picture is someone storming something. Never thought to tune into a Philly Sports Network for the first time, and it's a UK lad hosting it. The boy's been doing it for 10 years, my friend. What can I say? I'm coming over. We're doing it slowly. But I will be in Philly later this year. A totally separate note as we get towards the end of the show. My first ever trip to Philly has now been booked. So for those that don't know or might be a bit new, like Mr. Norman here, I've been running Philly Sports Network for 10 years now. I'm an old man. I'm 30 years old. I started it when I was 20. I'm now 30. Full-time job. We've got writers that cover the teams for phillysportsnetwork.com. We're credentialed with the Eagles, and it's an amazing opportunity that I lose myself in a lot, that I still get to do this as a 30-year-old guy in England. At 20, I was like, I've shithoused it a bit here, and this is pretty cool. And at 30, I don't know how I still haven't been banned from Philadelphia yet for being British. But alas, here we are. So my first trip out there. No, I know, Isaac. I know. No, I know. But back in April, my girlfriend bought me a flight to New York for October. We've just moved it to November because we were going to stay for 2 months and we thought it's too long. But first week of November, it's all sorted now. We've got the accommodation sorted and a lot. So I think we fly out November 3rd. And I'll be there until about the second week of December, I think. We haven't booked the return flight yet, so I might just stay forever. So yeah, the plan is to cover the Lions game. I think like I've timed it really well where I actually get to cover the Eagles and Lions. That's a cool thing. Like, you know, I'd rather that than the Giants, you know. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure it'll be a great game. But to have that be my first Eagles game that I cover as press would be very fun. And then from there, maybe a Phillies game. I don't want to take, but the thing is, oh no, it won't be. It'll be November now. The plan was Phillies, but now we're in November, so I can't. But you know, Sixers, I can go to games and say hi to everyone. Flyers, I'll be in the stands watching Mitchkov do his thing. We'll have a big PSN meetup. We'll have a tailgate. I'll be around constantly, just trying cheesesteaks and beers. Like I need people to show me good beer. That's the one commandment I have of you. Is just, if you somehow see me or you see me tweeting something, just give me a place or a brewery or like the Yards or something where I can just get a really good, strong pint. Just a big old beer. And then we can just talk shop, go watch some Eagles games, go get some cheesesteaks, hang out, and I can just tell you all one by one that I love you dearly and won't be here without you. So I can't wait for that. I really can't. It's super exciting. It still doesn't feel real because, as Isaac has said, I have booked this trip every year for the last 6. Genuinely since COVID. It's been honestly like every year since COVID. And some of it has been my own fault, like just financially and some other stuff where it just couldn't quite happen. and this is the first year that it could. And yeah, to have a girlfriend as lovely as she is to buy that ticket was very sweet for my birthday. So I've got to pull my finger out for her 30th now. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. It's going to have to be an actual plane, I think, to get better than that present. But alas, I appreciate you, Stormy Norman. We've got a follower. What a man. Yeah, we will be doing live streams as well for the Eagles. So we're going to have one tomorrow, I think, for Flipping the Birds. You've got me again on Wednesday, I think. Thursday, we're not sure if we're going to do a watch along yet, or we're going to do like a post-game recap. I'm veering towards the recap just because, well, for me, a recap on Thursday at least, because the game starts super late and it's going to be like 1:30 in the morning. So by the time it finishes, it's going to be nearly 5. And I don't think I've got it in me to do a 5-hour. I'm an old man now. All right, I'm losing it. The beard's coming, the air's going. So as all the caffeine in the world is going to make that an issue to do a 4-hour watch along. So we'll try and do a post-game reaction stream. Then there'll be one on Friday as well where we can talk about the game. So yeah, if you're new and you're checking out this show for the first time, we've got a ton of content. We stream multiple days a week. Like I want to say 4 on average. We're trying to ramp it up. But yeah, we have Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, Union, Eagles. I think I've missed the Phillies. So them, don't know, it's getting late. We have all of them. So yeah, we have streams different days of the week. So there'll be something to suit your flavor. And I'll happily pour you a drink of podcasting goodness. So thank you for sticking around, Stormy Norman. I love the name. I think that's brilliant. And it's good to have you in with us. Liam's plan to slowly regain the 13 column. Look, I'm out there for Thanksgiving. So I don't know what to do for that. Have I missed that? No, I missed Thanksgiving, weren't I? I don't know. I was originally, and then we moved the flight like last week. So I don't know. When is Thanksgiving? That's a bad question to ask for someone that covers an American sports team for a living. I'm going to Google it so I don't seem like... Oh, 27th. Yeah, we're there for that. We're there for Thanksgiving. So we're here. Do we just have a little one? Do we try and just sneak and have like a little PSN party in the afternoon while there'll be like a Detroit Lions game on? I would love to host like a British Thanksgiving thing in Philly where there's just roast dinners, like British roast dinners. And then it would just be me and my girlfriend and like 3 other people because everyone else has already had their Thanksgiving masterclass. And it's the one thing America does. So I get so envious every time Thanksgiving comes around because the food just looks so good. But yeah, we'll be there for Thanksgiving. Hopefully a little bit of the Christmas hype and stuff. I just can't wait. It's going to be so fun just to actually be out there and like meet everyone and hopefully meet some of you guys. I know like, every YouTuber will say that where they'll be, oh, I can't wait to meet you all. And then it never happens. Like, if I'm out there and we're going to the same game, I want to come out and say hello because without you, this doesn't happen. And I wouldn't even want to go to Philadelphia and I wouldn't be covering the Eagles now. So yeah, to me, I just love it. I would love to meet as many of you as I can. So if you see me knocking about, I don't know how big Philadelphia is. I'm British, and my sense of how big a country is gets lost on me. But if I'm walking about, or if I'm at the Eagles game and you're there, and just shoot me a DM on Twitter, as long as you don't try to kidnap me or something, and then make me recite John Hightower highlights and sing the Clayton Thorson song for an hour, I think we'll all be good. But yeah, no, I can't wait. Moved it to November. No, I promise. No, look, I can't. Can I show this? I don't know if I can. I'm going to cover bits of it up because I don't want to give anything away. But that is my... Is that covered up? I don't know. I'm going to dox it, so I'm going to nab my plane ticket now. This one got cancelled anyway. But that's the flight. It got printed out. So I am coming. Don't write it off. I've just got to sort my Esther, which is annoying, but that's fine. We can get that. Enjoy Philly and its fans. They're good people. I know. I can't wait, man. Like, I think I've tried to tell this to Lizzie quite a lot, that Philadelphia is just so unique in its people, like above anything else, in the diversity of its people, how passionate they are about everything, like not just sport, but for music, for food, just for life and each other. Like, it just feels such a unique city, like in the world. And like we go into New York for the first few days because that's where the plane lands, and we're just like, there's something to do in New York. I want to go see the Wall Street Bull and Central Park, maybe get a pizza. But like, I just want to be in Philly, and I just want to go to Xfinity Live, and I want to go to not Pat's and Geno's, and I want to go to Sheets, and I want to go to Wawa, and I want to look at all of this stuff that I want to wood at ice is what I want. And just to hear like see all this stuff that I've heard about for the last decade of my life. And all of the people and the memories that I've seen other people make through sports has been like one of the most special things ever. Like just following so many Philly sports fans on Twitter and seeing the tailgates and like the laughs and the scenes after they won the Super Bowl and like the murals that get put up around the city and the different like bars and stuff. Like I love it. And I think being a part of that will be just for a month, just temporarily. If you can adopt me as one of your own, I've been bugging you for 10 years and I've been winding you up with a horrible voice. Just 1 month of a towering 6'3" British guy, then I'll be forever grateful. So if you see me about, I'll get you a pint. We'll talk birds. I've already started saying go birds to people in England and it hasn't quite caught on yet. So to me, the idea of walking down a random street in Philly and just shouting go birds at a random person while my girlfriend vomits next to me out of cringe and someone saying it back, like that feels like heaven to me, you know, just to be surrounded by, they're not my people, but they are, if you know what I mean, like, because it's the same. It's just such a weird, I love it, man. Like, it's just such a crazy dynamic that I think Philly, like, it's like if you're a Philadelphian, you're a Philadelphian, and if you're on their side and you know you do all the right things and you show you want to be there, then they'll love you forever. And I think that's just such a unique quality. I've just rambled for 10 minutes about that. I'm really sorry. Eagles got the Black Friday game, perhaps a Thanksgiving tailgate. Let me see what I can cook up. I'm going to message, who am I going to message? Maybe Dylan? Yeah, but let me see what I can do. I think we can cook something up for that, depending on where and when and how many people. Because I don't know if they're all going to be, the people that I know do tailgates are already going to be doing their own. So I might just have to like crash it, bring a Union Jack and go, way, but might not go so well. If I can navigate London, I can navigate. That makes me feel good because I do like London. So that makes me feel really good. I'm up there far more frequently than I'd like recently, to be fair, just to watch Charlton Athletic, who is the soccer team I support. Also, yeah, I'm going to bring a few Charlton shirts out. I'm going to bring just anything England. Do you know what? I've got a Kelly Green Eagles jacket that I'm not allowed to wear because my girlfriend doesn't like it because she thinks the green's too bright. I can't wait to be strolling around at 1 a.m. with a bright green Kelly, like a full, like, you know, the Diana one, it looks like that, but it's like shiny. And yeah, it's just parading around that like for like 4 weeks. I can't wait. If you can go down to South Street, I'll make a note. Hang on, let me make a note of it now. I feel like we're now just doing like Liam's travel advice, which look, if anyone's listening to this stream still and it's in like the post-stream video, I apologize because I don't, imagine just falling asleep with your YouTube's auto playing and you wake up, just see the title of like, oh, what happened to the Eagles in 2025? And it's just me going, yeah, I love Philly. Yeah, I can't wait to have tailgates. What can you do? Is there a pub? Yeah, to be fair, like Passyunk Avenue or Passyunk, I guess you guys would say. Yeah, like Passyunk Avenue is like the one. It's like a Philadelphia themed sports bar in England, and it's my favorite place. Like, I honestly, every time I go to London, I've been with my girlfriend, I've been with friends, I've been with other groups of friends. I've dragged by their heels all of them to Passyunk, and there's like 3 different ones now. They're dotted around London. And when you go in, it's like all Philadelphia jerseys on the ceiling. It's like authentic cheesesteaks where they import the bread from Philadelphia, because I didn't realize that's the big thing and not the meat, but apparently it is. So they import the bread. Yeah, they had like watch parties for the Phillies games, for the Super Bowl. They had a massive screen outside. They do all sorts. Like, it's a really cool place. So if you're ever in England and you're in London, Passyunk Avenue, it's the most authentic. Look, I haven't had a proper Philadelphia cheesesteak yet, but I know for damn sure that is the best thing I've ever had in my life. Like, full stop. It's just sensational. So big shout to them. They're lovely people, lovely place. You're going to London tomorrow, right? Make a note. I've just made a note of South Street. Homework, Mr. Covington Jr. Passyunk Avenue, they're dotted all over, like I said, 3 or 4 of them. One of them's right by Oxford Street, which is like the big like street of retail stores and stuff. It's like London's most busy, famous-y, shopping-y bit, really. So there's one like a 15-minute walk from there, and you just Google map it. But Passyunk Avenue, I can't speak highly enough. They should sponsor this show, is what they should do. But yeah, just it's outstanding. Like, the cheesesteaks are great. They serve like proper pale ales and like Philadelphia beers. Blue Moon or High Noon, maybe both. The one where you have to put an orange in, they do that. Yeah, they have like darts there. They've got like screens that like when you go, they'll literally have screens playing old Phillies games or Super Bowl 52. Hopefully now this year's one. They'll have Flyers games on. You can come in and it's amazing, man. Like yeah, definitely go should you ever need the opportunity. But on that note, as I've just realised I've accidentally made a pun, but I will say, Birdbrain, before we go, I have heard. I have heard about Kensington, which is annoying because in London it's like one of the really nice parts of London. Like same with Camden, right? Like Camden in London is a really trendy, like up and coming, almost like market town with a lot of like, I don't know, street food and bubble tea and like big music venues and stuff like that. And then in Philadelphia, apparently it's not like that. So but what I've learned is that anywhere that is in London and in Philadelphia, just avoid the Philadelphia one because I might not come back. But yeah, I can't wait. So I think that's kind of it really for me between now and Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we'll do a full preview of the Eagles-Cowboys game. We'll look at both rosters. We'll look at some stats. We'll look at some trends and just try and get a gauge on how many points the Eagles are going to win by. Because I'm guessing, I think they open as a 7-point favorite. It's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be like 20, 30 points. I could see it like, I don't know, 34-17, 34-11, like something. I just can't see Dallas doing much of anything. Not on banner reveal night, not on the road, not without Micah Parsons. If it's anything but that, I think I will be stressed out and annoyed. But I don't think we've got a danger of that. So we'll get to that game on Wednesday. We'll go through everything, and I can't wait to break all of that down with you. Isaac said you should definitely go to Kensington Beach and Strawberry Mansion does sound wonderful. Oh, it was sarcasm. Okay, well, on that note then, Isaac, for building me up and breaking me down in the space of 5 seconds. Thank you very much, everyone, for hanging out this evening. It's been great to see some new faces. And to accidentally spend half the stream talking about my trip to Philly. But I've spent like the last few days properly booking things in and looking for things to do. So, yeah, I'm sure I'll be yapping about it plenty between now and then. And we'll try and set some events and some tailgates. And just, yeah, like, I don't know, if I'm somewhere, like, does anyone fancy pick up basketball in like an hour? I'm here. Someone just come and put me out my misery and dunk on me. I don't know. We'll try and get some fun PSN stuff going. But until Wednesday, we're a few more sleeps until football and Christmas. So sleep tight, have sweet dreams of the Super Bowl. Thank you for your attention and for listening to this show. I can't wait to see all of you soon in a few months' time where I come out and wind you all up in person with my John Hightower knowledge. I'll see you then. Take care. Go Birds.